So the previous apology video was made after I was told that there was misinformation in my video. I know that a lot of people saw that and thought that it was a response to stuff that's been on Twitter lately regarding me. No, that had nothing to do with it. In fact, only recently have I become intimately aware of what's happening on Twitter. I don't use the site like at all, really. Um, but basically, so I have a lot to answer for. A lot of this stuff was going to come out eventually, and it's really bad, but there's, I don't want to say justification, but there's context to it that I think will lessen the blow for a lot of people because I'm being currently slandered as if I've been making repeated, horrible, disgusting comments over my adult life, specifically for stuff I did as a teenager, but recently there was also over the last 9 months I had also made a lot of very hateful and harmful comments towards transgender bunny in my Discord server. Now, I'm not going to try and excuse these things that I said. Frankly, looking at all of them, it was definitely really fucked up of me to say a lot of this stuff. Frankly, these comments came from a place of hatred. Um, And the only way I can really contextualize it is not that I was hating on transgender bunny specifically, even though it really does come across that way. It's more so I was using them as a straw man of sorts to air out my frustrations with the Forsaken writing team as a whole. That's partially why when I re-edited the Forsaken drama slop video I made, the transgender bunny segment was so easy to just sort of like edit and replace any mentions of their name with just the Forsaken writing team because in reality, I wasn't really talking about transgender bunny. I was more so talking about the writing team as a whole. Um, Frankly, I don't really expect to be forgiven for these comments, nor do I really think I deserve to be. These are fucking venomous, and it's really bad. If you are gonna unsubscribe because of this, because of the shit I say, I don't really blame you. If you don't like me anymore because of this stuff, I don't blame you. Um, but I think that there's a lot of additional context, and now that my previous alias Lime Lazy has become public knowledge, I can finally explain my history. Again, I don't think my past justifies any of the awful shit I do today, especially recently. I realize now that this whole like hate campaign I had against transgender bunny was really not only built upon a complete misunderstanding, but also just really unnecessary. And I regret it. But I would like to provide the additional context necessary to sort of understand why this happened, and that starts with talking about my previous alias. If you're at all familiar with the current Twitter drama going on with me, you've probably seen my Lime Lazy account. This was my alias from when I was about 11 up until I was 16 or 17. The shit I did as Lime Lazy, I am not proud of. I will never be proud of it. And to see people dig up my past like this and sort of say that I didn't grow or I never learned anything from it sort of hurts more than you could know, but I guess I deserve it after the shit I said. So when I was a teenager, um, I was being groomed by a group of far right extremists into becoming a violent sociopath. These people would encourage me to post this obscene, frankly, obscene and disgusting content and would praise me for doing so. And because I was young and impressionable, their validation was everything to me. Eventually, when I became a furry, they ousted me from the group. And uh, in my sort of anger, I retaliated. I was doxxed. These people doxxed me. Um, Luckily, they didn't try to ruin my whole life, but clearly there's still some latent animosity at this point. I'm not angry. I from this whole thing, it's sort of hard for me to hold grudges like this anymore. Obviously, I still hold grudges a little bit, evidently with the transgender bunny stuff, but um, I find it hard to look back on this whole situation with me getting doxxed and all of this shit that happened as anything, but really, it's all my fault. I'm not going to use my past as a grooming victim to excuse what I did, but I see a lot of people pointing out this one video I made, r slash trans lore top posts of all time. I made this video when I was 14 or 15, and I was actively being groomed by extremists. It does not reflect my current beliefs in any capacity. I know that for some of you, that's hard to believe, especially considering some of the stuff that I've said recently. But I do not hate transgender people. I do not hate gay people. I have no animosity towards the LGBT community or anybody who's a part of it simply because they are part of that community. When I make judgments about people, when I say things, it's because I believe that they are a bad person or because they are doing something that I find disagreeable. I would never marginalize somebody or harass them or make fun of them for having a disability, for having a different sexual orientation or gender identity from me because that's not how I am. Again, I don't imagine that any of this will justify what I did to any of you. I don't even think it justifies it. I just want to provide additional context and sort of explain what's going on, especially with the Lyme Lazy stuff. It's really hurtful to see people talk about this past life of mine and look at that and say that I've never learned. I've just gotten better at hiding my transphobia. That is disgusting to say. I don't think the people saying that really understand what that means to me because I don't ever want to be like how I used to be ever again. The constant hatred and misery that I would experience and exude on a daily basis when I was a teenager was fucking awful. It was terrible. I never ever want to be that consistently negative ever again, and I never want to hurt people like I used to ever again. Um, Again, I'm not excusing what I'm doing today. I should know better by now than to not do this shit. But when you were groomed as a teenager into becoming a violent sociopath, it's sort of hard. It's sort of difficult to not fall into the sort of pitfalls I constantly fall into every single fucking day. And while I can tell you that I am trying to be better, I am trying to improve, I can't prove that until I am better. And I don't expect any of you to really forgive me for it. Sorry if that got a little emotional. I'm sure people are going to make fun of me for crying, but it's difficult to talk about my history, especially that period of my life. I don't like talking about it or thinking about it. But I want to get back on track and talk more about the original video, the original Forsaken video, and the multitude of other mistakes I made beyond just the misinformation. So I made a couple of replies to comments from people who were defending transgender bunny, and again, I don't want to try and justify it, but at the time, I didn't know that what I was spreading was misinformation, and so my responses were smug and sarcastic and really just fucking, just frankly unacceptable, given the actual like truth of the situation. Um, I literally said I'm an entertainer, not a journalist when people ask me to have journalistic integrity. And at the time, I thought I did my diligence in covering the topic. Evidently, I didn't, and I regret saying those things, and I'm sorry to the people that were trying to tell me that I was being retarded, and I refused to take their advice, and I refused to accept what they were saying because of my own ego. This sort of extends also into the multiple comments that I responded to positively that were hurtful, and in no way really justifiable in retrospect. But at the time, I thought that I was getting a bunch of flack from people who didn't actually know what they were talking about, and that I was 100% correct. So I would just like and heart comments that seemed to agree with what I was saying, regardless of their morality, and what they were trying to say. And I guess I just did it to piss people off, to sort of engagement bait. And it made me look like a really bad person, even more so than a lot of the messages that have been circulating and the videos that have been circulating. I just I don't want to try and justify it. I don't want to say that this was okay to do, but again, when you were groomed as a kid into believing that one side is wrong and that you're always right, and you need to double down on everything and fucking all this and that, it's really fucking hard to see something like this happen and respond to it like a fucking normal adult. Most of the time, I am able to control myself, but I regrettably fell back into my old habits. For those of you who already think I'm a horrible person, I'm never going to be able to change your mind. I've sort of accepted that now. But for those of you who were willing to hear me out and were willing to conversate with me, I had multiple good, very healthy conversations with people, including a Forsaken moderator who came to talk to me about this. And with my past being sort of dug up like this, it sort of put into perspective for me how far I have come, at least to myself. I know I still have a long way to go, and I don't I can't promise you that I'll never make a similar mistake to this again, but I can promise you that I will try my hardest. I said this in my Nitro Lord video, and I'll say it again now, but when people like me make mistakes like this, the consequences are bigger than just myself. And having seen how this my mistakes have impacted not just me, but the moderators on my server, the people within my server, and my best friend, I it it just makes me feel even worse. I'm almost done here. I know I've been talking for like 15 minutes, but I'd like to apologize for how I structured the original apology, and honestly, even this one a little bit. I know that it's kind of all over the place. I'm sure people aren't going to have the patience to sit through this entire thing and figure out what they're looking for. But with the last apology, I thought it was sort of honorable of me to request people to tell me who was actually responsible for the things I was calling transgender bunny out for that they were innocent of doing. But I guess that came across as me just doubling down on this stuff. The only thing I want to double down on is the core thesis of the controversial segment of that video. I think that it's weird to take characters that you don't own and sort of arbitrarily apply characteristics like this and put a spotlight on them. And I've now recently been told that apparently there is now a proper lore reason for why these characters are LGBT, and that's great. When I had made the video, I didn't know any of this because I hadn't played the game or really cared about anything regarding it aside from drama for about 9 months. Um, so I still think my point stands. I think arbitrary inclusion and diversity for the sake of inclusion and diversity is bad, not just for the people consuming the media that has it, but for the people being represented. I want the LGBT community deserves to have good characters and good representation, and overall, the entire point of my channel, my career goal is to make things better for everyone. I don't want things to just be better for me. I don't want things to just be better for straight people or white people or whatever. I want things to be better for everybody. I want Roblox to be held to a higher standard. I want the content people consume to be held to a higher standard. I want things to be good for everyone. And I know that oftentimes I come across as incredibly rude and crass, and that's because I am. Sometimes again, I can get angry. I fall into these logical pitfalls all the time, and it's really my fault. I don't want to try and excuse it again. I really don't want this to come across as me excusing any of my bad behavior. I just want to contextualize it, but um, I just hope that I can move forward, having gotten this weight off my chest, and that maybe those of you who are willing to hear me out on this are willing to forgive me for what I've done. I've had people come into my server and tell me to kill myself over this. I've seen death threats on Twitter. I've had people give me death threats in the comments. You can't see them because YouTube filters them, but if I go into YouTube Studio, you can see them. I'm not going to show them on screen. This is not going to have any editing. Sorry if you were expecting that. I know people were saying that my last apology was half baked. I assumed that that was because I didn't have any editing. Turns out it was because I was only talking about the misinformation, but um, that's not important right now. I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is I never directed anybody to harass transgender bunny. I never directed anybody to harass anybody in the video, even though I didn't put a disclaimer. I guess I just assumed people knew that I don't want people to be harassed. It's sort of it. I'm sure it hurts the people who are trying to hold me accountable as well, just as much as it hurt me to see people do this. But when you harass people, it doesn't make them want to apologize or take accountability any more than they would have otherwise. In fact, I think it really hurts your chances of getting an apology out of somebody. Um, I think, not to sound like an asshole or like I'm egotistical, but you guys are lucky that I'm so mature that I'm willing to take accountability for this and I'm willing to take my ass out as many people were very upset at me for making that apology because I was showing my ass or whatever the metaphor is. um, I just did what I thought was right. I spread misinformation. I was told I did that. I was proven. Somebody sent me information that proved that it was misinformation, and I was like, fuck. I felt really bad, so I apologized for it. I have more. This was. I had much more to answer to that I hopefully did in this video. Um, I. I'm in all honesty, I'm sort of happy that this happened early on in my career and that this didn't come when I had like 100,000 subscribers or something. Um, I've been sort of I don't talk about Lyme Lazy. I don't talk about my past for the very obvious reasons. I've already went over it, but being able to talk about it and hopefully and I'm happy to have a platform to talk about it too because people do need to understand that grooming is more than just sexual grooming because I was groomed ideologically And I was groomed into doing things that are unforgivable and completely reprehensible. And I sincerely apologize. As a as a large-ish creator now, having that stuff on my history is not good. I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels at this point. If I forgot anything, please leave a comment. I guess I could make another apology video following up on this, or I'll just reply to your comment. I don't use Twitter. I'm not going to make a tweet about this. I have no interest in using Twitter. I'd just like to extend a very sincere thank you to the people who sent me the stuff that people were saying on Twitter and letting me know what's going on, because otherwise I wouldn't know that I would need to make this video. Um, and I'd also like to give a sincere thank you to the people in the initial video who were holding me accountable for the misinformation that I was spreading. Um, I I'm grateful to have people who watch my videos who are willing to let me know when I get something wrong and are willing to hold me accountable. I don't want an echo chamber community of people who are just going to harass others for whatever reason and are going to use misinformation to justify that harassment. If I get something wrong, I want to be told that I got it wrong and I want to make it up to people. Um, I've been going for 21 and a half minutes now, so I'm going to wrap it up. I'm really sorry that this was so long, but I had a lot to get out. Um, I hope you guys have a good day. I hope we can move forward as better people, and we can sort of figure this out in the long run. All right. I'll see you next video.